of Sri Ram and Hanumanji, we begin our study of the Hanuman Chalisa. We cannot find a devotee who is unaware of this extremely famous poem. Millions of people world over are enthralled while chanting this tribute to Hanumanji. Though it conveys the message in a few words, it contains infinite wisdom in only 40 stanzas, and hence the name Chalisa, literally meaning a poem with 40 stanzas. They are in the popular meter called Chopai. Added to it are 3 couplets, as you saw when the lady sang, 2 in the beginning as Mangalacharan, which literally means an auspicious prelude to begin a holy work, and 1 at the end as a prayer in the form of a doha. For more than 4 centuries, countless people, from illiterate to elite, have known it by heart. There is a popular misunderstanding in the field of religion and spirituality that a person who is not knowledgeable will resort to devotion. Self-proclaimed knowledgeable people denounce devotion as a meaningless overflow of emotions. They also look down as karma as a futile exercise responsible for creating cycles of birth and death. On the other hand, those who believe in karma ridicule devotion and knowledge as a waste of time. Devotees consider themselves as incapable of deciding about the right karma and also feel that the path of knowledge is beyond their reach. Hanumanji dispels these misconceptions. He portrays that a seeker must have the right combination of Gnan, wisdom, karma, action, and bhakti, devotion. In fact, this is the most effective formula for success, not only in spirituality, but in everyday life, day-to-day life. The Hanuman Chalisa is a valuable source for us to understand the success mantra. There are a few events that led to Goswami Tulsijasji to compose the Hanuman Chalisa. He was born in somewhat 1554, which is around 1498 AD, in Rajapur, near Prayag, to a Brahmin family. A scholarly figure who regularly gave discourses on the Ramayana, Tulsijasji was also a prolific astrologer. While he was mainly interested in spiritual upliftment, he found people thronging at his door for temporary fixes through astrological consultations. He felt that he was not devoting enough time for his spiritual growth. Hence he created the Ram Shakla Prashnavali. Who's heard of this? The Ram Shakla Prashnavali, which is found in most copies of the Ramcharitmanas. People can get answers to questions bothering them from it. This definitely helped reduce Tulsijasji's burden, but he felt that there are many other challenges which are resolved with only a person's inner strength. An individual can be made aware of his inner potential once connection with the Supreme Power is established. After strengthening this connection, he derives energy from the inexhaustible Supreme Source and becomes absolutely courageous and indomitable. With this purpose, Tulsijasji created the Hanuman Chalisa. As a mantra, the Hanuman Chalisa basically aims at 5 aspects. The first is to remove the worldly miseries. Number 2, to inspire one to live a moral and devotional life. Number 3, to serve as a handbook of management principles in order to successfully complete a project. Number 4, to guide a devotee to his ultimate destination, the lotus feet of God. And number 5, to provide a manual for a spiritual seeker to realize his pure self. In her book, Darshan, Professor Diana Eck of the Harvard School of Divinity mentions an interesting point. Based on various surveys and statistical data, including Kirlian photography images of the aura and radiance of an idol, she presents a well-researched fact. The power of an idol increases with 3 variables. The first is the number of faithful worshippers. The second is the frequency with which they worship. And the third is the length of time that they worship. This explains the special importance of certain shrines in all religions. In India, temples such as Tirupati, Balaji, Dwarikadish, Nathdwara, Vaishnav Devi, etc. attract millions of devotees each year. It is the power of the idol that draws these faithful believers towards it and provides them with solace. It may be true for other religions as well across the globe. The same logic is applied to decide the power of a mantra. Accordingly, the Gayatri mantra is the most repeatedly chanted mantra by the maximum number of people for the past thousands of years. Similarly, as the Hanuman Chalisa is also one of the most popular mantras over the past 4 centuries, it is widely accepted as being very powerful. Looking beyond the boundaries of traditional religious beliefs, Hanumanji's life and messages are very motivating and guiding in the context of modern management principles. The world is yet to witness a manager as successful as Hanumanji. Contemplation of his vivid heroic deeds clearly reveals the same shot know-how for accomplishing any task. Hanumanji is unparalleled in sharp intellect, positive attitude, quick decision-making, excellent oratory, and dexterity for maintaining cordial interpersonal relations. Hanumanji is also an able troubleshooter. By removing hurdles and overcoming obstacles in the path of success, he always emerges victorious. His consistent triumphs are attributed to 6 characteristics. The first is an exultant mind. The joyful disposition of Hanumanji does not depend on any external object, individual, or situation. It is the default state of his mind. Biographies of devotees reveal that they remain fully composed even in the most challenging situations. Prominent saints such as Narsi Mehta, Mirabai, Guru Nanak, Tukaram, Surdas, Tulsidas Ji, et al. Never complained when ticklish situations arose in life. Number 2, a well-defined goal. Most of the people remain non-achievers because they cannot decide their goal. Direction and momentum of life depends on its goal, it being the fulcrum of all activities. A businessman who draws up a short-term plan and a long-term strategy, striving for implementation of the same, surely meets success. Similarly, a seeker who remains focused on his goal of God realization and strives constantly towards the same is definitely embraced by the Supreme. Number 3, accepting the challenges. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. That's a quote from James Baldwin. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. An escapist who runs away from difficult situations is actually running away from success. No challenge can defeat us unless we concede defeat. The secret to Hanumanji's success lies in his ability to evaluate a difficult situation and find a way out. Number 4, humility. Hanumanji, always ready to bow down, does not have an iota of egotism. He surely prostrates to Sri Ram, but his genuine humility is reflected when he bows down to the apes who have joined Sri Ram's mission. He did not fail in paying homage to his peers before starting off in search of Sita. In the Ramcharitmanas in the Sudakant, Doha 1, it says, Jab lagi avun Sita hi dekhi, hoi kaju mohi harash biseshi, ya kahi na subani karun mata, Jale harashi hiyan dari ragunata. Wait for me, brethren, till I return after seeing Sita. I am sure the mission will be accomplished, as I feel very cheerful. So saying, and bowing his head to them all, he set out full of joy with Sri Ram in his heart. Colloquially, saints explain the meaning of the name Hanuman as one who has annihilated the ego. Modern man suffers from a lack of humility. Success goes to his head, making him a victim of inflated ego and false pride, which deprives him of peace and bliss. A branch of a tree bows down on bearing fruits. Similarly, one who remains humble, even after acquiring wealth, power and fame, commands the love and respect from society. A pot flowing in the stream of a river does not get a drop until it bends down, but the moment it bends down, the river fills it. The pot only needs to bend, the river will do all the rest. One who is prepared to bow down easily gains the cooperation of friends and relatives, blessings of elders, the compassion of saints, and energy from existence. Could everyone please turn their mobile phones off? At the time of commencement of the Mahabharata war, Duryodhana did not think of taking blessings from Bhishma, while Yudhishthir, in spite of being in opposition, wished to bow down to the great patriarch. On knowing this, an emotionally overwhelmed Bhishma blessed victory to Yudhishthir. Hanumanji is epitome of humility, as he is well aware that the lotus feet of the Lord is an inexhaustible source of all worldly and ethereal power and happiness. Number 5, faith in action. Faith is a great power that turns an impossible into a possible. It is easier to have faith in a person or ideology, but it's rather difficult to have faith in action. An activity devoid of faith turns into drudgery and is not pleasurable at all. There are 5 steps to develop faith in an act. The first is an attraction towards the goal. Number 2, commencement of efforts. Number 3, respect for the work. Number 4, dedication towards activity. And number 5, faith in action. Swadharma, as preached by Shri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, is a dutiful action performed with faith. An act, only if regarded as a swadharma, can be performed with faith and gives satisfaction and joy to the doer. Here, a simple test is to check whether your act is swadharma or not. Ask yourself, would you be still be doing the same activity you're doing now, even if you did not have restrictions of time and the compulsion to earn money? If your answer is negative, you're wasting your life in drudgery, and if you're fortunate to give a positive answer, your life is a grand celebration. A faith in action entrusts the doer, and entire existence deploys itself favorably towards his success. Number 6, emotional intelligence. Man has been talking about the intellect since time immemorial. A person having a high IQ derives spontaneous recognition, but it's essential to be aware of a danger in the field of intellectualism. Mere intellect makes a man emotionally dry or drags him towards a demonic trait. An intellect bereft of emotions turns into a selfish rogue and ultimately harms the society besides himself by abusing his intellectual power. Ravan, Gantz, Duryodhan are all examples of self-destructive characters who abuse their intellect. Modern psychologists acknowledge the importance of the emotional quotient, EQ. Though Greek philosopher Plato proclaimed centuries ago, all learning has an emotional base. Focused research began in the field during the last decade of the 20th century. Leading researchers Peter Salvoy and John D. Mayer have defined EQ as a subset of social intelligence that involves the ability to monitor one's own and others' feelings and emotions, to discriminate amongst them, and to use this information to guide others' thinking and actions. The recent bankruptcy of Enron created tremors in the corporate world. The reasons for being such a big multinational company going bankrupt were critically analysed. Corporate bigwigs declared that Enron's payroll boasted of intellectuals comprised of engineers, technicians, accountants, lawyers, not us, not CMS, etc., but they were not loyal to their mother organization. In spite of having high caliber in their respective spheres, they lacked the primary value of honesty, the virtue of honesty. Hence, they only nurtured their self-interest and collectively acted as termites, bringing about the company's downfall. Thus, IQ without an EQ can be incredibly destructive. Hanumanji, over and above having IQ and EQ, is a forerunner in spiritual quotient, SQ as well. The way an intellect devoid of emotion makes a man a rogue, an overdose of emotion devoid of intellect turns him into an indecisive and impulsive person. Only a person having higher SQ contributes to the growth and well-being of society by integrating his intellect and emotions. Hanumanji, befitting the title Gnana Guna Sagar, an ocean of wisdom and virtues, is definitely a manager par excellence. In the beginning, we need to clear a misunderstanding. Hanumanji is not a monkey god, as his name is translated in most expensive and colourful coffee table books. We should never make the mistake of addressing such a great personality as a monkey god. Hanumanji is a manifestation of radiance. Let's examine this on the basis of the Ramcharitmanas. Kishkinagand is the fourth of the 7 chapters of the Ramayana. It mainly deals with the search for Sita in the forest. Sambati, a vulture and a devotee of Sri Ram, informed that Ravan had abducted Sita and held her captive in Lanka. All the monkeys and bears, under the leadership of Jambavan, were wondering who would cross the ocean to Lanka and locate Sita. No one came forward. In the atmosphere of tension and despair, Jambavan noticed Hanumanji and inspired him with the following words: Kahi rechapati suni Hanumana kachup sada rahu balvana pavantane bal pavan samana buddhi bibek vigyan nidana kavan so kaj katin jagmahin jo nahi ho tattum pahi. In the Ramcharitmanas. Listen, O mighty Hanuman, why are you silent? Being the son of the wind, you are as strong as him. You are a storehouse of intellect, discretion, and spiritual wisdom. Is there any task in the world so difficult that you cannot perform, my child? There was no reaction from Hanumanji. Jambavan continued, Ram kaj lagi tav avtara. O Hanuman, you were born to perform Ram's work. This statement trigger shed triggered a watershed moment for Hanumanji. His transformation is described by Tulsidas Ji as Sunatahi Bayu Prabhakaraha Kanak Baran Taj Tej Biraja Manahun Apar Ginkar Raja, which means on hearing this, he grew to the size of a mountain with a body shining like gold and full of radiance as if he was another Sumeru, the king of mountains. Notice the word Tej, radiance above. Now keeping that in mind, let us continue. In a 6th chopai of the Hanuman Chalisa, Hanumanji is described as Shankar Suvan Keshari Nandan Tej Pratapa Mahajagavandan, the son of Shiva and delighter of Keshari. Being radiant and valorous, the entire world bows down before you. Later, Hanumanji entered Lanka and found Sita in Ashok Vatika, Ravan's favourite garden. He proved his association with Sri Ram by giving her the mudrika, the ring. He consoled Sita that within a month, Ram would come to Lanka with millions of monkeys, defeat Ravan and take her back. Knowing the clout of Ravan in Lanka, Sita was sceptical about the whole plan. Hanumanji there and then manifested his gigantic form and said, "All other monkeys are like me." Tulsidas narrates Sita's state of mind, now clear of all doubts, as Man Santosh Shunat Kapi Bani Bhagati Pratap Tej Balsani. Her mind filled with contentment on hearing Hanuman's speech, full of devotion, valour, radiance and power. Thus Hanumanji is radiance personified. Each stanza of the Hanuman Chalisa is embodied with this radiance. We can derive power from his radiance to dispel miseries and achieve overall success. Worship of Hanumanji, along with the chanting and anustan, which means a vow performed for a desired result, of Hanuman Chalisa can be done by men, women, children, without any restriction. It is a superstition that women cannot worship Hanumanji. Sometimes women themselves feel that they cannot worship Hanumanji. Once Guruji asked a group of ladies, "Why do you keep away from Hanumanji? They worship, go in front of Krishna and do this, go in front of Ram and do this. As soon as they come to Hanumanji, they do this." With fear in their tone, they replied, "We have to, because he's a brahmachari, he's a celibate." Guruji said, "That's his problem, not yours." He assured them, Hanuman's celibacy is not so fragile that a touch of a woman would endanger it. In the second last stanza of the Hanuman Chalisa, Tulsidas clearly says, "Jo ya pare Hanumana Chalisa, hoi siddhi saki goresha." One who reads this Hanuman Chalisa is sure to be accomplished. Lord Shiva testifies this. It is to be noted that no condition is laid whatsoever. It is just one who reads. This could be a man, a woman, a child, a bird, an animal, a poor, a rich, a knowledgeable, an ignorant, a good-looking, or otherwise. Simply anyone. Not only that, Tulsidas only expects one to read. There is no adjective to the word reads. There are no prerequisites such as reads with concentration, reads on a particular date or day, reads at a particular time, like morning, afternoon, evening, night, or reads at an auspicious time. It is absolutely unconditional. Just by reading, one is accomplished. Tulsidas says this with confidence because it is testified by none other than Lord Shiva himself. We welcome Paresh Bhai, who's the head of the Satkarma Mission UK, who's come to join us. He's the head of Guruji's organisation in UK. Sangeeta, let us start Doha 1. Okay, everyone with me?